So as we look out into our universe from planet Earth, and now we look towards the sun and the backdrop to the sun, we now associate with the hexagram, the gateway number 20. And again, we're in the quarter of civilization. We're in the throat center in human design. And again, the 20th gateway is in what we call individual circuitry. And it also has a bit of a twist. It's in the what we call integration circuitry. And integration circuitry, basically, physiologically, we could say it relates to the spine. It's what holds the bottom part to the top part, holds the whole thing together. And so, we say about the spine is like stick up for yourself, have a strong backbone, show some backbone in your life. And so the 20th gateway is the expression of the energy that runs through us as an individual, and we express it in our own very individual way, according to our own nature, according to our own sense of truth. And you may have noticed these first three gateways. Well, now that we've moved into this quarter of civilization, the first three gateways that associate with the throat center are all in this individual circuitry. The first one was the 23. Here's something for you. Assimilation. Here's some concepts, some breakthroughs, some insights, right, in language. And then the second one, the 8th gateway of holding together or cooperation, contribution, right? We've all got something to offer here. How do we get it together? How do we pull it together? And now we're in the 20th gateway, the gateway of the now, present tense. This is it, right? We've got all these references out of the past. We've got all kinds of concepts and ideas about the future. What's the deal right now? So let's have a look, see at the pages. And what we're going to realize about this 20th gateway, because it's part of this integration circuitry, it has connections into 3 other gateways as a potential. So it's unique in human design, or let's just say these 4 gateways are unique in human design. 20th gateway, we're looking at the bottom left-hand corner of the wheel here. We have gone quite clearly now into the sign of Gemini. And so those of you that are into astrology, you'll know very much what Gemini stands for this quick communication, the quick movement in things. And we can see the potential connections here. Right at the top of the chart there, we got gateway number 10, which is the one that's in the side of the self center, the diamond center in the middle. So the 2010 makes up a voice or an expression of leadership now, committing to higher principles. Top right of the wheel, we got the 34, right? This is exactly opposite the 20. So this is one of these 3 channels where you got one end of it, you got the other end of it making up a channel. So the 2034 connects from the throat center to the top left-hand corner of the sacral center. And this channel that I call busy, busy, busy. It's also called the channel of charisma, right? Well, why do you call somebody charismatic? Because it looks like they're capable of doing stuff, right? So the 2034 has this tremendous busyness or this tremendous capability, this manifesting generator energy about it. And then the one over on the right side, the 20 to the 57, and the 57, if you remember, in the spleen center, it's the gateway of awareness, intuition, this acoustic sound quality. We call it the gentle, as in the penetrating wind, the X-ray vision that just quietly and calmly reads whatever's going on in the world around on an intuitive level. So a very versatile gateway, the 20th gateway, and it is all about being in present tense. So the 20 to the 10, this present tense of leadership, this committing to higher principles, it's now. Where did he go? Where did she go? Right? It's basically a leadership that just takes off, assuming that everyone gets whatever it is that's been suggested, where we're going. And so the 20th gateway has to be really, really clear that people are in present tense with them when they're suggesting a leadership or some form of action going on. The 20 to the 34, busy, 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 head down, I'm busy now, don't interrupt me, I'm just totally involved with whatever I'm doing. And we're saying, hang on a minute, you've got a gut response. Heads up when you get a gut response. Don't just totally be lost in whatever it is that you're doing all the time. Busy, busy, busy. And then the 20 to the 57 is this channel of this spontaneous expression of intuition, right? All of a sudden, some intuitive thing comes up and here it is. I'm putting it out in a voice. So it can happen, people that have that channel, the 2057, they'll know they can be sitting with a group of friends who are all talking about this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden this intuition comes up and out it comes. And everyone says, why are you telling us this? This has nothing to do with what we're all talking about here. Well, I thought you might like to know, it just seemed relevant on some level. 20th gateway in the individual circuitry. So all of these individual gateways, individuals' expression is all about acoustics. It's all about empowerment. It's all very personal. It's all novel. It's different. It's new. And that is very much the quality of the 20th gateway. So if you look at the chop marks there, you know that these first 8 hexagrams here in civilization, we have broken, broken, broken at the bottom. We have receptivity as the base of all these hexagrams that we're looking through now, these first 8. And then at the top, we have broken, solid, solid. And if you just look at this, probably, you might just make the image of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Or if you go to the Eastern countries or you live in China, Japan, where there are temples and shrines, you'll know that all these temples and shrines have a gateway outside them. And the gateway is 2 uprights, 2 bars across the top. And what that represents is it's neutral ground. It's a gateway. On one side, there's one thing going on the other side, there's another thing going on. And in the Eastern tradition, and particularly in the Chinese tradition, this would be a gateway going into a temple. So on the one side, you've got the marketplace where all the material stuff goes on in life. And on the other side of it, you've got the temple. And you have a gateway strategically placed so you can see both from that gateway. And so what happens is you come out of the marketplace to visit the temple, and while you're in the gateway, you're in this neutral space. You kind of drop all the business stuff that you've been dealing with, and you prepare yourself and you kind of clear everything out, get into the present tense, ready to go into a very, very different space. And so in our lives, every now and again, if you're driving around places, you'll see, scenic viewpoint, signposts. And if you take the moment to stop, you'll park, get out of the car or get off your motorbike or whatever and go across and, all of a sudden there's this extraordinary view. You're not racing down the road anymore. You're not in a hurry to get somewhere. All of a sudden it's like, and it stops you in your tracks, and there's a complete shift from the busy or the going or the intense life process, and all of a sudden life stops you, nature stops you. You're brought into the present tense. You cannot carry the baggage out of the marketplace or out of the road wherever you're going. You can't carry all that stuff with you while you're taking in this view. So just to be aware of this, life actually exists. The reality is present tense. Yes, I know we've got all this stuff going on. We've got things that got to get done. But the reality is life is present tense. And so I just say to myself as much as to anybody else, when we are burdened with problems and there's this and there's that and this complication and that complication, the moment you snap into the present tense, there isn't a problem. Now you can go back into the problem matrix again, but in that present moment, there's just this. And of course, since this is the reality, really worthwhile embracing it as much as we can. So here we are, the now, contemplation, watching, paying attention. The gateway to knowing is simple. Be present. And it's really worthwhile putting the brakes on every now and again. Be present in the here and now. And all of a sudden, we're connected into a completely different reality, the reality. And I'm not saying you can't go back to problems again. Sure, they'll wait a little bit. But it's just that pristine moment. And in that moment, you have the possibility to totally reconnect into yourself. And when I say yourself, I'm talking about your human design. I'm talking about what it is that always works for you in this life. We've all been encouraged to overwork with our minds. We are the only species that has this quality of being able to examine our lives on a mental level. And we do it too much. And so the now, the viewpoint, the sudden break in the scenery gives us that possibility to absolutely reconnect. So here is the commentary here. And it says, sitting in the gateway. So you're coming out of the marketplace, you're going into the temple, you sit in the gateway for a minute just to reflect, just to calm down, just to be able to drop the baggage, catch your breath. And it says, sitting in the gateway between this and that, neither this nor that, in the middle, neutral space, and watching every aspect of life dispassionately, just witnessing it, watching it, what's going on here, leads you to finding clarity in your life. So as the world gets crazier by the second, and let's just say it's not going to get less crazy anytime soon, but more and more we have to recognize our salvation is in the present tense. The moment we can live in the present, maybe nature can just take us there, because nature only knows how to be natural. Maybe sitting with the cat for a little bit, talking with the dog for a while, playing brings us into that natural space again. And it's neither this nor that. It's just present tense. And so here's a key. Concentration leads to contemplation, leads to meditation. Concentration, find out what it is that really interests you. Where do you need to apply your attention? Is it your work? Is it your life? Is it what you're cooking? Is it your driving? Concentrate on that, right? Find out all the background, all the information you need for it. Go as deep as you can into it or need to go. And then when you get a chance, contemplate, how does this stuff fit into the world? How does this information, how can it be applied into the world? How does it all work? And then the meditation. How does this imply within me? Does my frequency, my vibration match with whatever it is I'm looking at here? Can I find the presence? Can I find the now in whatever it is I'm looking at here? Let's have a look, see the lines. 6 lines in each hexagram. We start with the first line, and the first line just lays it out. Simplicity is the key to awareness. Awareness is not a complicated thing. It's just about being present. And you know, when you get out of the car and you walk towards where the view is, the panoramic view, and it's like all of a sudden you're in that moment, that precious moment. You walk around the corner somewhere and all of a sudden, oh my goodness, a completely different scene meets your eyes. And it's just the simplicity of it, nothing complicated about it. All I had to do was break the pattern. I had to come out of the activity, out of the mental carry on, and allow myself to come into the present tense. And it's simple. It's not a complicated thing. And this line says each small event is part of a larger scheme of events. The simplest of things, yes, you link them all together, and yes, you can see a larger consequence of it all. But what it says here is your own viewing of life is essential. You can't view life for somebody else, and somebody else can give you suggestions of how they experience their life, but it's your life to live. And in the present tense, you have the quickest way and the simplest way of accessing what your life is all about in any moment in time. What is playing out around you at any moment in time, right now. And here it says you find beauty and harmony in apparent simplicity. For example, a panoramic view. Awe-inspiring, amazing. So easy to leave all the complications behind and just take in a panoramic view, walk in the woods, enjoy the trees, enjoy the stars at night. Simple things. They're there all the time for us. The other side of it, a moody oversimplification of life, can cause you to shirk personal responsibility. And you can see how that possibility is, oh, I'm just not in the mood to engage with my life at all. I'm just going to space out. I'm just going to space out and sit in the woods and the trees and look at the stars and ignore my responsibilities in life. And that's the other side of it. I'm just going to make my life totally simple. I'm going to go and be a hermit, live at the bottom of the woods somewhere. And you can see, yeah, there's maybe times for that, but there is still that thing of taking care of the needful in life. And the whole thing in the end is it's about being present. The now. The second line, viewpoints, weighing personal perspectives with the reality of the world. Second lines very easily can just trip through life, la-di-da. It can all be just great, very natural, fun and games, not too complicated, not going to get involved in other people's stuff. And what this line says is, look, be clear what your own viewpoint is in any situation. This is not about dodging the reality. It's what's the reality of the world. And like, yes, I'm part of the world. I'm living in the world here. How do I engage with it? What is my viewpoint? How do I play within that? How do I find my presence in the world at any moment in time? And it says, if your ineffective observations are not appreciated, you can easily become discouraged. Second lines have a certain natural quality, a simplicity about them. And there's this potential, hey, do you see me? Do you recognize me? Do you see what I'm doing here? And if there's a sense that the second line is being ignored, oh, maybe I'm not on the right track. Maybe I need to make my life a little bit more complicated. There's always a sense of unsophistication about second lines. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just being very natural. And sometimes society requires us to be very involved and very sophisticated. Broadening your perspective through finding harmony in every moment. Now, all of us probably at some time or another, we've been in the zone. We've been in it, we've been on it, we've been clear, we've been in a state of meditation. We're there. We are this. We're not separated from this. We're in love, we're in consciousness, we're in bliss. May last just an instant, may last a minute or two, may last a whole day or a few days. And it says, finding the harmony in every moment, finding that acceptance of everything that's going on at any moment in time. There's no denial. It's just, yes, I am in this. I am this. And the other side, if you take everything seriously, you'll form narrow and potentially moody viewpoints. Who's to say that life is not an extraordinary, humorous joke? I mean, honestly, it looks like we're all taking life so intensely seriously. And it's very easy to do that. You know, furrowed brows, thinking so hard about everything. But, you know, second line, it kind of really is here to play in this natural possibility of life. And so there's really something about the 20th gateway when you come into the now, when you come into that present tense. And I'll just give you an example of this. Can you look yourself in the mirror and laugh? Can you just see in a flash all the games that you play, all the different faces you put on in different situations? Can you find that funny side of things? What roles are we all playing here? Multiple facets of different expressions of life. And here it's just saying, look, be natural. Don't worry about being complicated or anything. Just, it's okay to laugh with yourself sometimes, to find the funny side. What do I think I'm doing here all the time? The third line, being objective, developing an ability to watch your thoughts and actions impassively. So here it is. This is really directing our attention to, yes, being in the now. What's going on in me in the now? Can I recognize how it is I'm being in the now? What is my engagement with the present sense? Am I just relaying same old script the whole time? Or as in the third line case here is, we're just seeing I try all kinds of different things, all kinds of different expressions. And what it says here is establishing guidelines by dispassionately watching the effect you have on your world. We're not disconnected here. As we put out, so the world gives back. As the world gives to us, we assimilate it and take it in and engage with it. And we recognize part of our world through what's going on inside ourselves. And that's what this third line is all about. It's bringing our world and our life together in the present. And so it says, honoring your witnessing consciousness. And here again, when you really stop and consider for a moment, we're not our body, right? Our body carries us through life. It gives us the access to all kinds of different experiences, expressions, travels, engagements in life. We're not the body. We're not the mind. The mind is rattling on doing its own thing most of the time. We're not it, thank goodness. It's a biocomputer that we have access to. And hopefully, in the end, we become the master of our mind rather than the mind running our lives. And we're not our emotions either. Their feelings come and go. One time we're excited about something, the next we're not. The movements, feelings are always changing. They're great fun in the right circumstances. They're very uncomfortable in other circumstances. They're just feelings. They come and go. There's no point hanging on to them. So here, what this 20th gateway is saying, in the now, we're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not the emotions, we're witnessing consciousness. And that is the gift that we have as human beings. That is part of our nature, is to be able to watch ourselves, to witness ourselves, to witness what our life is all about, what happens in our life. But it does mean we have to be objective, we have to stand back from it. And the third line just has this possibility to disengage on a totally applied level, but to actually watch what it is that's being expressed. So honoring your witnessing consciousness, you find assists you to glide through your life, right? Instead of having all kinds of problems and issues and difficulties and stuff, you kind of constantly are watching yourself without any judgment, watching how you take yourself through your life. And it's all about being in the present tense. It's about the witnessing, the watching in the moment, that awareness. And the other side of it, this potential for self-consciousness can be a stumbling block when you are not relating, when you are relating in the world. You get self-conscious and all of a sudden you lose that possibility of witnessing what it is that's going through. You think everyone's got some kind of more important information for you to take in rather than you watching how you are with it all. So the 20th gateway gives us all kinds of opportunities. And the fourth line is called observing, promoting the best influences in your world. So we know fourth lines are always wanting to have everybody on board. Can we get everybody to come into the now? Can we all be present in playing in this world or acting in this world or working in this world together? So it's looking to provide the best influences. What are the best influences for everybody? Remember, the 20th gateway is this gateway. It's this neutral space, ultimately to realization. Impacting situations by recognizing and enabling the best attributes in yourself and in others. We had a bit of this in the 8th gateway when we were seeing, how do we all, when we love to be able to contribute towards something that's creative, that's different, that's new, that's innovative. We love it. We love that sense of engagement, that sense of achievement. And here it is, with this 20th gateway, it's saying, okay, one of the keys to this contribution is being present. And the 20th gateway being individual, it's a voice. The voice is now. So enabling the best attributes. You expound knowledge in varied ways according to the requirements of the moment. It's about seeing, there's different ways of getting different people on board or be able to express in a way that the influence really carries so that people are engaged and uplifted in what it is that's being expressed. So it's saying, different ways of putting out the necessary knowledge or information or guidance to get people into the present with you. The other side of it, you communicate through remarks that may or may not have instant practical value. You know, tried and true formulas, or just teaching the same old way all the time. And the 20th gateway is, come on, this is all innovative. This is now. What does this moment in time need right now? We are literally watching many of the systems in the world collapse. The collective way, the way we've always done it, the traditional stuff. And the 20th gateway really is that gateway into the now, into whatever is needed in this moment. And the fourth lineup has this natural influence in being able to draw people into this present moment together. And so it's saying, you know, what if something's to be said, if something's to be expressed here, what is it that's relevant in this moment? Fifth line, it's called meditating. Remember, I was saying meditating is about taking whatever the consequence of the world around you or whatever you're looking at inside. How does it relate within me? And it says, watching your deepest thoughts and feelings dispassionately. Fifth lines always have this quality to be able to lead and guide and point out the way. They have the vision. They can see how things are potentially going to work out. And everybody has a projection onto the fifth line. Hey, you're supposed to help us out in this way, or maybe this way, or how about over here? And the fifth line has to be so clear, right? My thought, what are the thoughts running through me? What are the feelings running through me? Dispassionately, right? I'm not the thinking, I'm not the feeling. I am this knowing in this moment in time. And it says, open to hearing the world's comments on your life. You engage from a place of inner clarity. Everybody's got ideas of who you are and what you're supposed to do for them. And so the key to the fifth line is being absolutely centered and cleared and meditative before engaging on anything, or just, I cannot possibly move forward until I bring myself into the present tense. Now. Neither the one thing nor the other thing. Now. So you have a disciplined approach towards promoting sound standards in the world. And yeah, there has to be that quality of a disciplined approach. I'm not able to move until I'm present and clear in myself. What's going on in me, regardless of all the thoughts and feelings that are swirling around. And the other side of it, becoming unhappy with your present reality, you tend to quest for drama and diversion. Oh, let's just stir up something or other. You know, I haven't got time to sit with all this. Everyone's got all kinds of ideas what's supposed to happen. And yeah, you can just, I don't want to be in the present. I want some distraction. I want to go read the news. I want to play with my phone. I want to do something different. And to be meditative, it is a discipline, but it's a key. Meditation is a key. As many of us know, it's a key to finding that inner stillness, that inner clarity, that presence. And then we get to the sixth line. The line is called reflecting, considering those agendas that benefit everyone. Well, how can things be expressed in this present tense so everybody derives benefit from it? And it says, your detached presence amasses realistic knowledge that is available for everyone to utilize. There's a potential of great teacher ability here in this 20th gateway. How to bring people into the present tense, how to get people into that neutral space where they're totally at home in themselves, totally at home in the present in their own life. And the sixth line has this gift. It can just look over what are the ways that everyone's going to derive benefit here. You have the ability to expound your individual clarity for the greater good. There's a certain potential wisdom in six lines. They can see all the different levels of a hexagram. They can see all the different line numbers and what's involved. What is the whole quality? And the great thing about the sixth line is, am I going to engage or not? And of course, we always say type and authority, you know darn well from your own type and authority, your own type and authority, whether to commit yourself to some situation or not. And so the sixth line can have this kind of reluctance. Is it always my job to sort everything out for everybody? However, I do get the better viewpoint of things. I do carry within me this wisdom of seeing what can benefit everyone. And so your detached presence amasses realistic knowledge. amasses realistic knowledge. It's like I've got all kinds of things that could be offered to all kinds of people in all kinds of different ways. In this moment, am I in the space to offer it? If so, what is it that's really needed in this moment? And it has. You have the ability to expound your individual clarity for the greater good. So you can go overboard on other people's behalf. You can see how other people can be guided towards what it is that's really going to assist them in growing in the present tense. And then also you have this other side of it, your ability to communicate promotes knowledge of all kinds, whether it's useful or not. And there it is, the sage or the wise one has an overflow of potential offerings to people. And a lot of it can just go in the wind. Nobody ever catches onto it. Nobody realizes it. But there it is. The sixth line has that place. And a lot of times it's just going to reflect. It's like, it doesn't matter how hard I try, nobody's going to get it. Even if I have all this wisdom. And that's very often the case with six lines. It's like, do I get involved or not? Is it worth it or not? And just from this particular point in time, yes, it's worth it. But don't hang on to it. Let it go. Let the wisdom go. Let it find the places where the wisdom can be put out. Our reality, once again, our reality is present tense. We're here to live in the now. That is the reality. And yet we're dragged off in so many different directions. But we're coming to this point in time now. If we insist on hanging out with the old or insist on projecting into the new, we're going to miss out on the reality of our life, which is right now.